Over the past 30 years, there have been a cultural shift, one in which religion, and we're in the West, so it's mostly Christian, the one in which Christian was the dominant culture, to where now a liberal or a non-Christian belief is the dominant culture. And I'm going to put forward the case that gaming was better when the dominant culture was Christian or conservative, despite gaming itself being a more liberal or artsy endeavor. So to come to this conclusion, I looked at what the outcomes were on gaming when Christian, so about 20, 30 years ago, when the dominant culture was Christian or conservative, compared to the impact that gaming has and that liberal culture has on gaming now. Now, when Christianity was the dominant culture, it attacked gaming, much of the same talking points as you would hear now: corrupting the youth, affront to public decency, and so on, right? But the Christian and the conservative at least had good intentions in mind, because they were looking at games as a media and seeing that young people are very impressionable, and the type of behaviors, murder, killing, in GTA and Call of Duty, and before that Mortal Kombat, very, very bloody, violent game. And by the way, this is back in the 90s, 80s as well, right? So it's not rendered in high definition as you are probably thinking of. I'm going to try and see if I can find a picture of Mortal Kombat on the NES, the Super Nintendo 2, and this is what they were complaining about as being overly violent and so on, right? And of course, as the rendering improved, the female characters tend to be more and more buxom and attractive and so on, and Christians didn't like that. So what came from the Christianity, the complaint that they're leveling, actually something good came out from it, objectively good. The ESRB, as a concept anyway. You can have doubts and argue the validity in how it's run, but as a concept, objectively good. So one of the issues that the Christians raised was that some of the game content was inappropriate and little Timmy shouldn't be there killing people. They are actually kind of correct here. Yes, they went overboard with it, don't get me wrong, but the idea of having restrictions on what children can consume as entertainment is a reasonable one. It's something that we've done for all other forms of entertainment. And thus came the ESRB in 1994. So that's right, before 1994, games did not have a rating. You would think that is absurd. So this is one good thing given Christian analysis or critique of gaming. Ratings, very, very good. Additionally, when Christians were attacking and conservatives were attacking gaming, gamers and the industry, we weren't at each other's throats. We were united against a common quote-unquote enemy. And the reason for that, one of the reasons for that is Christians view themselves as being in the world but not of it. And so they typically don't infiltrate anything. So you can see where I'm going to segue into left-wing nonsense now. What is the impact of left-wing nonsense in gaming? Not a damn thing good. There is no aspect of gaming that is better now. There's no policy, no group that's better now, or no reasonable restrictions compared to what it was in the 90s. The restrictions now are wholly arbitrary and don't actually benefit anyone. So the restrictions are now that you must pander to alphabet people, and you must have as few white characters as possible. It's, in other words, be racist. That is, or those are the type of restrictions that come from a left-wing culture. And unlike Christians, liberals do infiltrate the organizations. The Christian types stood on the outside and hurled stone. The liberals infiltrated, used a Trojan horse, gained position of power, and then completely irreversibly screwed everything up. And now in a more liberal culture, for the first time in 30 years, gamers are attacking each other. I don't mean for console wars or people saying FF6 is better, FF7 is overrated, FF6 is better. Not talking about that. I'm talking people that they're a civil war and they treat gaming with as much fervor as politics. And they are making judgment on people's character based on what games they buy and they don't buy. a left retard, a leftard can look at someone and say, oh, you played Harry Potter, therefore you hate alphabet, which is funny because from what I understand, Harry Potter it is a woke game, just that J.K. Rowling isn't as woke as they woke want her to be. The funny thing is, this actually goes two ways. I can see a person who plays a game with a bunch of funny men and say you either support that thing, you're politically ignorant, or you're culturally illiterate, in that you don't understand what it is that you are supporting and promoting by purchasing that game or supporting that game. It goes both ways. It's not just a one-sided blade, a machete they can use to attack non-wokists. Non-wokists can also use it to attack you, but that is also part of the problem, because again, it fosters this environment where gamers are attacking each other on a personal level. So you're a bad person if you don't like this game, or you hate everyone in the world if you like this game. As a gaming industry, we're no longer united, and the games industry did not simply ignore the left-wing nutcases as they ignored the Christians. Mortal Kombat, for example, Christians were complaining about the scantily clad women and the violence. Mortal Kombat did not care until the culture shifted and became left-wing. Now, Mortal Kombat says, okay, you can kill people in violent ways, but let's make the women look like men, and then let's turn Melina into some damn alphabet. Then let's put in 3 new people and make one of them be a Batman. So because of that, I'm looking at what the Christian culture did on games. Something good came from it. The ESRB, where we now rate games to prevent 4-year-olds from playing mature games. The games industry and gamers weren't at each other's throats. Yes, you had your internal disagreements about the console wars and so on, and which game it was better than the other one. But we weren't making any blanket statement to say that, oh, if you play Xbox and you're a horrible person and you have no morals and no decency. That was never a thing. And then because Christians were in the world but not of it, that's how they perceive themselves, they didn't infiltrate anything, and the industry was perfectly fine with not bending to their whims and cries. Left-wing or liberal culture, on the other hand, there's no good organization or policy that came from it, or that comes from it, because we're living in that hellhole right now. The game industry, they're like a civil war in the game industry now. Something that once upon a time was a unifying force. We're all united, we're now splintered and fractured. And because the liberals infiltrate everything, all they do is just push their agenda. So this is why I think that despite it being a more liberal endeavor, having a Christian or conservative culture to rein it in is better than having a liberal or a left-wing culture to pull it into even further depths of depravity.